Hey guys, I'm back for 2 book reviews. Hopefully the lighting's better. My husband had 2 lights that he kind of put up in here, so I'm hoping that works. I wasn't going to do these book reviews, but I decided, you know what, I'm going to. A lot of people like them. Let me know if you guys want me to keep doing book reviews or if it's not really that big of a deal. I do book reviews on Goodreads all the time, so I mean you could always check there. With every book I read, I do something, say something about it. If I can't figure out what to say about it, I at least put a sentence. So, but I'm going to talk about right now. The first book is Brain Jack by Falkner, and this book I've been wanting to read for at least a year. It is, let me see when it came out, 2009, so it's 4 years old. But this book was freaking so good. I gave it 5 stars. Like, I couldn't get enough of this book. It is about technology, computers, hacking. If you like that type of stuff, I recommend picking this book up. I don't know if anybody's ever seen the movie Hackers. It's an older movie. The beginning of this book reminded me of that. It is just so good. The main character is Sam. He's like 17 years old, I believe. And it opens up with him hacking into a top top secret place that is supposed to not be able to be hacked into, and he gets caught, and he ends up going to juvenile detention. After he's been in juvenile detention for, I think it was a few weeks or something like that, he's thinking he's not going to get out of there because of what he did is considered like terrorism. I believe it was terrorism. And he decides to break out. He breaks out of the juvenile detention center, and all this stuff just starts happening. The Homeland Security end up getting a hold of him and wanting him to work for them. So instead of him going to jail or anything, he's now working for Homeland Security by doing what he does best, hacking. Trying to stop other hackers, basically, is what he's doing. He is using his skills for that. And it's just the things that happen, and it was just so good. It's like computers turning against us, new technology being introduced and turning against us. It was just such a good book, and it was action in there, and it was just like non-stop something happening throughout the whole book. And I know this review sucks, and I'm sorry, but I'm trying not to give it away. I just recommend that you guys read this if you have not. Like I said, if you're into like the computers and the hacking and stuff like that, technology. I absolutely love books like that. The next book I just finished. I read it in one day today, which does not happen. For those that know me, know that I cannot stay focused for long. I do not have a long attention span. I take a lot of breaks while I'm reading. But today, for some reason, I hardly, took any breaks at all from reading. I just basically read the whole way through. I think I may have taken 3 breaks. There was 328 pages, which a lot of people can read that in a day, but like I said, it's hard for me to stay focused. But the book is The 7 Rays by Jessica Bendinger. This cover is very pretty. I got this from the library the other day, and she is the writer of Bring It On and Stick It. She also, what else did she? She wrote First Daughter, and she was the writer and creative consultant for Sex and the City. This was her first book. And this one was published 2009 also, so it's also an older book. Now, when I got to about page 200, I went and updated on Goodreads. It was around there somewhere. And then I happened to look at the reviews that other people put on this. So many people did not like this book. Did not like it. And I was very shocked because where I was at in the book, I was really enjoying it. But then when I got to the end of the book, I realized I have more questions than answers. And I didn't like that. Granted, there might be a sequel. I don't know. But there still are some things that I feel should have been answered in this book. The main character, Beth, in the very beginning, the book talks about how smart she is. She graduates from high school as a junior, and just how smart she is, you know. She gets into her top choice school and blah, blah, blah. But then the rest of the book doesn't really put her intelligence into play. So I'm not sure why the emphasis was so greatly put on how smart she was. Especially, too, because the way she spoke, the words she chose were not intelligent at all. Just words that she made up for certain things were just, yeah. And I don't know, I didn't care for that. But anyways, the book is about the girl named Beth, and she starts having vision problems. So she tells her mother, and her mother takes her to the eye doctor, and she ends up having to get laser surgery. And so she gets the laser surgery, but things start to get a lot worse, and she starts to see so many more things. And if she were to touch somebody, it's like their life flashes before her. And she cannot figure out what's going on. She thinks she might be going crazy, but she doesn't want to admit that. And then a letter shows up at her school for her. Someone delivers a letter to her school. And it only has one sentence on it. So she is like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But as more things start happening, she gets a little bit more curious about what is going on with her. And then she needs her birth certificate to sign papers for school or something like that. And her mom tells her, well, I'll look for it later. So she takes it upon herself to go into the attic and look for herself. And while she's up there looking, she comes across more letters, just like the one she received that someone sent to her school. And she's like, what is going on? What is my mom hiding from me? Blah, 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 blah. And thus starts this big adventure. Obviously, she has something going on. Obviously, she has some kind of powers or something. Now, I liked the book because I liked the idea of it. I liked that she wasn't just thrown into another world immediately because of these powers. She was still like a normal teenager with her friends and her mom and blah, blah, blah. And she had to try to figure things out for herself while other people were thinking that she was having some mental issues. And her mom took her to a psychiatrist and ended up admitting her into a mental institution. And I liked that. That was like real, you know, because people on the outside are going to think that, you know, somebody was acting like she was and doing the things she was doing. So I like that that seemed real, like the responses and the actions of the other people. What I didn't care for was there's a love interest, of course, and he falls for her like immediately, and he's like one of these popular, hot guys, blah, 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 but there's no real explanation of why he fell for her so quickly and so suddenly and so hard. That I didn't care about. Now, it seemed like he was under some kind of a spell, so I don't know if you're supposed to just assume that, insinuate that, I don't know. The other thing I didn't care about was the way her mother acted towards her. There was no explanation whatsoever. Now, a mother should be loving and should be supportive and all of that, and her mom was completely the opposite. And it's just like her mom was so mean. And there's no explanation for why her mom acted the way she did. And I didn't like that. It just kind of left you hanging. The other thing I didn't care for was that by the time I got to the end of the story, like I said, I had more questions than answers. It explained what the 7 rays were, but I still didn't understand it. It just didn't, it wasn't clear enough for me. So I gave the book 3 stars because I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed the concept of it, but at the same time, I was confused by things and didn't care for how some things were left undone. So yeah, I don't know, I guess if you want to read it, go ahead. I just feel like it just ended, you know? Like, there's no questions answered is how I felt. So yeah, I was left confused and feeling like I need to know more. Now, like I said, there might be a sequel and that might have the answers in it, but I felt like this book should have answered more in this book than it did. But that is it. So, The 7 Rays and Brainjack. 2 completely different books. 5 stars, 3 stars. This one could have been 2 stars, but I read it in a day, it kept my attention, so. I did get 2 books in the mail today, and I bought a book last week that I forgot to show in a haul. So I'll probably do that video another day, because I know I've been putting up a lot of videos lately, and I still want to do that topic video on rereading books. So, I am going to start reading now Between by Jessica Warman. This is another book I got from the library, and this one has over 400 pages, so probably take me about 2 days to read. Alright, that's it guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.